My dear friends, today I'll be discussing about the ischemic stroke or what is ischemic stroke. Now, ischemic strokes is a type of stroke also known as cerebrovascular accident or simply known as brain attack. In ischemic stroke, because of ischemia or blockade in the arterial circulation to a part of brain, there is neuronal damage because of which the patient may goes into a stage of disability and morbidity. It is one of the important life-threatening situations throughout the world. Its incidence is gradually increasing with the gradual increase in obesity, hypertension, diabetes, various heart disease like atrial fibrillation, valvular heart disease, etc. It constitutes about 80 to 85% of the total stroke population. So it is most commonest type of brain attack or most commonest type of stroke. So ischemic stroke constitutes majority of the stroke patients. Here actually the pathology lies in the fact that the artery supplying the brain undergoes some blockage because of clot formation which may be superimposed along with atherosclerosis or because of some other mechanism or blood clot may form in the artery supplying some part of brain, and because of that, because of the blockade, because of clot formation, blood flow to the certain part of brain will be decreased, and that's why the neurons will die because of lack of oxygen and energy failure of the neurons. And these will stimulate events known as ischemic or neuroischemic cascade, and that is responsible for gradual damage or inflammation of the neurons, which ultimately leads to death of the neuronal cells. Now there are so many risk factors that may lead to ischemic stroke. Out of all these risk factors, the most common is high blood pressure. High blood pressure is responsible for to cause endothelial injury, which will stimulate the platelet aggregation, activation, and clot formation. So endothelial injury is responsible for platelet plaque formation as well as thrombus formation or clot formation, and hypertension is the most common cause of the ischemic stroke because of that. So regular control of high blood pressure is very much important so as to prevent the risk of development of ischemic stroke in future. Beside hypertension, other risk factors may be diabetes. Diabetes is one of the metabolic syndrome which may lead to macrovascular as well as microvascular complication in our body. Diabetes is associated with lipid abnormality or abnormal lipid metabolism, due to which there is high cholesterol level in blood. And this high cholesterol level in blood may be responsible for deposition of fatty plaques in the tissues, in the arteries, lumen of the arteries, leading to which there is gradual narrowing of the arteries supplying the brain, and this mechanism is known as atherosclerosis, and because of atherosclerosis the blood flow to certain part of brain is decreased or compromised, and which may stimulate the ischemic stroke in future. Beside, there is another important risk factor known as atrial fibrillation. It's a cardiac rhythm abnormality or cardiac arrhythmia where atria undergoes desynchronous abnormal rate and it loses its synchronicity with the ventricle, and it may be because of complication of mitral stenosis or mitral valvular stenosis, and 15% of the atrial fibrillation may lead to risk of stroke. So atrial fibrillation also constitutes 15% of the ischemic stroke. Now atrial fibrillation is responsible for development of clot in the chamber of heart, which may undergo dislodgement or transfer to the cerebral circulation, where it can block any cerebral circulation and may generate the ischemic stroke. So atrial fibrillation is another important risk factor for future ischemic stroke. Beside, high cholesterol level is another important risk factor because high cholesterol level is responsible for causing atherosclerosis of the cerebral vasculature, which may lead to ischemic stroke in future. Besides, sedentary lifestyle, obesity, and unhealthy diet also increase the risk of ischemic stroke. Other than these factors, other factors may be there, like history of past history of transient ischemic attack. Those patients who had a history of transient ischemic attack may suffer from another full-fledged attack of ischemic stroke within 3 months of TIA attack. So past history of TIA or transient ischemic attack is an important risk factor for development of ischemic stroke in future. So those persons who have suffered from transient ischemic attack or mini stroke, they should be very much cautious, as well as they should consult a doctor and they should start the preventive medication so as to prevent the long lasting prevention against ischemic stroke, because those patients who have already attacked by a TIA or mini stroke, they have 10 to 15% is increased risk of suffering from ischemic stroke within 3 months of the past TIA attack. So that's why for them preventive medication like aspirin, clopidogrel, anticoagulants, hypolipidemic drugs must be advised so as to prevent the risk of suffering from ischemic attack in future. Besides, smoking is another modifiable risk factor. Smoking causes narrowing of the arteries, it also causes hypertension, it also leads to endothelial injury, it also increases the coagulation capacity of the blood or makes the blood hypercoagulable. And because of this, there is increased risk of clot formation in the cerebral circulation, which may ultimately increase the risk of ischemic stroke in future. Now there are two types of ischemic stroke. Number one is thrombotic stroke, another one is embolic stroke. Now thrombotic stroke is because of formation of a clot in cerebral vasculature or blood vessels supplying brain or arteries supplying certain part of brain, and it may be because of various risk factors like hypertension or diabetes or atherosclerosis and so on. So that is called thrombotic stroke. Another type of stroke is known as embolic stroke. What is embolic stroke? In embolic stroke, the source of clot formation is not from the cerebrovascular area, or the source is not the brain. Rather, the clot or blood clot or thrombus is formed in the chambers of heart. But those patients may have superimposed disease like atrial fibrillation or any type of valvular heart disease like mitral stenosis, which may ultimately lead to atrial fibrillation. Because of fibrillation, there is turbulence in the atrial chambers, especially left atrial chambers, which may dislodge the thrombus into the systemic circulation and which may travel to the cerebral circulation and got entangled or block any artery supplying some part of brain and may cause the ischemic stroke. So that type of stroke we call it embolism or thromboembolic stroke, as the origin of the blood clot is not from the brain but it is from other organ like heart. That's why those persons who are suffering from heart disease like atrial fibrillation, valvular heart disease must be treated very seriously. Otherwise, this atrial fibrillation and valvular heart disease may ultimately give rise to ischemic stroke in future because of thromboembolism phenomena. Now come to the symptoms. There are the symptoms of ischemic stroke is mostly based on the depending on the area of the brain involved as well as the site of the location of the ischemia. So the sign symptom of the ischemic stroke depends on the area of involvement as well as the volume of infarct or volume of lesion in the brain. So there are National Stroke Association has suggested a criteria or terminology known as FAST so as to diagnose the sign symptom of ischemic stroke. And what are those? FAST, the F stands for facial dropsy or facial weakness or drooping of face or facial weakness. So we call it F. So F stands for facial weakness or facial dropsy. Then comes the A. A means arm weakness or weakening of the arm muscles. So that is another important sign symptom of ischemic stroke. Then comes the S. S stands for slurring of speech or speech defect. So speech therapies or speech in difficulty is another important sign symptom of acute ischemic stroke. Then comes the time, because since these 2-3 sign symptoms are there, it might be a case of ischemic stroke. So we have to take decision very fast, and we have to act very fast so as to delay the or not to lose time, so as to save the life of the patient. So time is another important parameter that we should keep in mind so as to save the life of the patients. Now we'll comes to the diagnosis. When it comes to diagnosis, various important parameters plays important role. We can start from the medical history, past history of transient ischemic attack, then any heart disease, any medical history of atrial fibrillation, then diabetes, hypercholesterolemia, hypertension should be taken. The history of all these medical conditions must be taken, because those medical conditions also increase the risk of suffering from ischemic stroke. Besides, we should also take history of smoking, alcoholism, etc. Next comes the sign symptom of the disease. Then we must see the various sign symptom of the disease. We should ask for the sign symptom, just like dizziness, weakness of one side of the body, then disorientation, altered behavior, altered sensorium, then unconsciousness or loss of consciousness, then defect in walking, speech defect, then defect in talking, then gait abnormality, then defect in behavior, confusion, visual blurring. If the ischemia attacks the cerebral cortex, especially visual cortex or occipital cortex, then there may be blurring of vision, double vision, or even blindness also. So those are the various sign symptoms of ischemic stroke. So from the appearance of the sign symptoms, we can also diagnose ischemic stroke. Next comes the clinical features or observation of the clinical findings or of neurological examination. So neurological observation or examination can also focus on the weakness of the limbs, muscles, both arms as well as leg muscles or lower limb, upper limb muscles. We can see the weakness of the muscles, their power grading of the muscles, all those things can be checked. And we can also see for Babinski sign, and also we can diagnose upper motor neuron lesion or lower motor neuron lesion. All those things are the important finding that can focus our attention towards acute ischemic stroke diagnosis. Next comes the blood test. We can see various blood parameters like blood sugar level, then serum cholesterol level, then we can see kidney function test, then electrolyte test, then we can see platelet count, we can check for prothrombin time, thromboplastin time, we can check for ischemic stroke markers, whether there is a cardiac abnormality or not, history of MI or not. We can see cardiac ischemic markers, troponin T and troponin C, etc. So these are the various blood tests that must be done so as to diagnose ischemic stroke. Next comes the imaging technology, that is CT scan or MRI. CT scan and MRI is very much important. CT scan, actually it is diagnostic tool of choice in case of hemorrhagic stroke, whereas MRI, that is diffusion and perfusion weighted or perfusion gated MRI, is the diagnostic tool of choice in case of acute ischemic stroke. CT scan can also diagnose acute ischemic stroke, but after 24 to 48 hours. Within first 24 hours, CT scan cannot detect the ischemic stroke, cannot measure the volume of lesion, cannot diagnose the ischemic stroke accurately. That's why we have to take another CT scan after 48 hours so as to confirm the diagnosis of ischemic stroke very accurately. MRI can diagnose the ischemic stroke very accurately, so MRI is the diagnostic tool of choice in case of acute ischemic stroke. So with the help of MRI, we can find out the volume of lesion, area of location or site of lesion or site of infarct, and also we can find out we can diagnose the type of the stroke, that is whether it is ischemic or hemorrhagic variety. Next comes the echocardiogram or echocardiography. From echocardiography, we can check presence of any clot formation in the heart, any previous heart disease, is there any abnormal function of heart, ejection fraction, any heart valvular disease, whether there is mitral stenosis, mitral regurgitation, whether there is any left chamber dilatation or left atrial enlargement, as we see in case of atrial fibrillation. So we can check those disease via echocardiography. Then comes the ECG. In ECG, we can see any atrial fibrillation or cardiac rhythm abnormality, because cardiac rhythm abnormality like atrial fibrillation can lead to thromboembolic stroke. That is, atrial fibrillation is abnormal rhythm of the atrium. Atrium loses synchronicity with the ventricle and it starts pumping of its own. And because of that, there is also turbulence in the left atrial chamber, which increase the risk of production of thrombus or blood clots in the left atrial chamber. These clots can lodge into the cerebral circulation, or it can travel via the systemic circulation into the cerebral vessels or vessels supplying the brain, and ultimately can block any artery supplying a certain part of brain, leading to ischemic stroke. That's why you have to check the ECG so as to rule out atrial fibrillation or any heart valve disease. And if it is diagnosed atrial fibrillation, we have to treat the atrial fibrillation with anticoagulants as well as antiarrhythmic drugs. Then comes the carotid ultrasound. In carotid ultrasound, we are going to check the narrowness of the carotid artery, because carotid artery atherosclerosis or decrease in the lumen size or narrowing of the carotid artery may lead to ischemic stroke in future. That's why you have to diagnose the carotid ultrasound. With the help of carotid ultrasound, we have to diagnose the narrowingness or lumen size of the carotid artery. Then comes another important techniques or diagnostic tool, that is cerebral angiogram. Here we are going to see any blockade in the artery supplying the brain or not, any cerebral vessels or circulation of the brain, whether there is any blockade, there is atherosclerosis or clot formation or any other complications. It is just like coronary angiography or coronary angiogram, but in case of cerebral angiogram, we are going to see the network of vessels or whether there is any vascular blockade in the cerebral circulation. Next, another diagnostic tool is there, and that is MRI. MRI also plays important role in finding out any arteriovenous malformation, whether there is any other bleeding in the ventricles or bleeding in brain. It also rule out any presence of any subarachnoid hemorrhage or not. So MRI and CT scan also rule out the other side of stroke, that is other type of stroke, that is hemorrhagic stroke. So for that also CT scan and MRI is very much important. So these are the various diagnostic tool for diagnosis of acute ischemic stroke. Next we will discuss about the treatment of acute ischemic stroke. Now acute ischemic stroke is because of formation of a thrombus or blood clot in artery supplying some part of brain. So our main treatment policy is to remove the clot so as to re-establish the circulation, so as to prevent the brain damage, so as to prevent the neuronal loss, so as to prevent the morbidity, mortality, and increase the survivability, and also to decrease the lifelong complication and disability or permanent disability in the stroke patients. For that one, we have to start a therapy known as thrombolytic therapy. So thrombolytic therapy or medical thrombolysis is a treatment of choice if the patient arrive at the hospital within 3 to 4 hours of acute ischemic stroke onset. So medical thrombolysis is the treatment of choice if the patient arrives at the hospital within 3 hours of onset of the stroke. And here one drug known as alteplase or recombinant tissue plasminogen activator is injected IV, and this drug will enter the cerebral circulation and will lyse the clot or undergo thrombolysis, or remove the clot or lyse the clot, and ultimately it re-establishes the circulation to the brain and prevent the further ischemic events in the brain. So thrombolysis, if it is done within 3 hours, can save the life of the patients. In some cases, it can be done within 4.5 hours also. But beyond 6 hours, thrombolysis or medical thrombolysis does not play any important role or does not give much benefit to the stroke patients. So it is best done within 3 hours to get maximum benefit. After medical thrombolysis, there is other therapy like antiplatelet therapy, that is aspirin, clopidogrel. They can be started within 24 hours or within 24 to 48 hours of stroke onset. This is to prevent the clot formation, further clot formation, to prevent further blockade in the artery, so as to prevent the brain damage as well as complication of the ischemic stroke. Besides, we can start anticoagulants like warfarin, so as to prevent the coagulation in the arterial lumen of the cerebral vessels. Then if the patient is suffering from any diabetes, we have to treat the hyperglycemia with proper anti-diabetic or insulin insulin, so as to prevent the complication of hyperglycemia, because hyperglycemia may also accelerate or causes increase the infarct size and may make the stroke patients more critical. So that's why you have to treat the hyperglycemia and keep the blood sugar level at normal range. Besides, if the patient is suffering from any fever, then you have to treat with analgesics. And if the patient is suffering from any constipation or bowel abnormality, we have to give laxatives so as to prevent the constipation. Besides, if the cholesterol in the blood is very much high or patient is suffering from hypercholesterolemia, we can start statins. Statins are also chemically, they are HMG-CoA reductase inhibitors. They prevent the cholesterol reabsorption, decrease the cholesterol level in blood, and decrease the cholesterol production by the liver. And because of all this mechanism, it lowers the blood cholesterol level, and thus it prevents the atherosclerosis process and prevent the ischemic events in future. So it is also protective mechanism, so as to prevent the further ischemic events in future. So these are the various medical therapy that can be done in patients suffering from acute ischemic stroke. Then in some patients, if the medical therapy does not remove the clot, then there is another treatment known as medical thrombectomy. Here, by introduction of a catheter into the cerebral vessels, especially in the large vascular obstruction, there the catheter is introduced and inject the RTPA or tissue plasminogen activator, which can lyse the clot or responsible for clot lysis, and it can re-establish the circulation. It is best done within 6 hours of acute ischemic stroke onset, but it can be done within 24 hours also. But after 24 hours, the benefit of mechanical thrombectomy does not play any important role, or it does not give much benefit if it is done after 24 hours of acute stroke onset. Next come other treatment like carotid end arterectomy. Here the blockade of the carotid artery diagnosed by carotid ultrasound is removed using some endovascular therapy or endovascular or neurointerventional techniques. Here the blockade of the artery is removed, but sometimes if the blockade is complete or full blockade, it is better not to do this procedure because it may increase the risk of stroke while doing operation or while undergoing the procedure. That's why carotid endarterectomy sometimes is not advised in some patients. Besides, ischemic events or ischemia or ischemic stroke may also produce cerebral edema, which may increase the intracranial pressure and may lead to neuronal injury because of brain herniation and even lead to death. So we have to target so as to decrease the or lower the intracranial pressure. We can do this by giving mannitol IV. So mannitol IV is given so as to prevent the cerebral edema. At the same time, We also resort to hyperventilation to lower down the intracranial pressure. So these are the various treatment regime for those patients whose intracranial pressure is very much high, and because intracranial pressure, if it is very much high, may lead to death in some patients. So there is the therapeutic strategy or management of ischemic stroke. Now we'll discuss about the lifestyle modification as well as how to prevent the ischemic stroke. So there are various important preventive measures. Number one is that lower the blood pressure by antihypertensive or by natural method. Next is take proper diet or healthy diet, like diet rich in fruits and vegetables, low saturated fat, low trans fat, low cholesterol diet, low sugar diet, and high fiber diet. So that type of diet, also called Mediterranean diet, is very much good for prevention of stroke, especially ischemic stroke. Then comes the avoidance of alcohol and smoking. Both of these are the important preventable risk factor that may lead to ischemic stroke. Besides, we must control diabetes by taking insulin or oral hypoglycemic agents or by natural method. Control of diabetes is very much important because diabetes is one of the important metabolic syndrome that may lead to future risk of ischemic stroke. Besides, we should do regular exercise. Physical exercise is very much important. At least 30 to 45 minutes of exercise per day decrease the risk of ischemic stroke in future. Besides, if the patient is suffering from any heart disease like atrial fibrillation or multivalvular disease or valvular heart disease, we have to treat those conditions because these conditions may lead to abnormal generation of blood clots in the chambers of heart, which can be carried or transferred to cerebral circulation, leading to thromboembolic stroke or embolic stroke, which is a type of ischemic stroke. So we have to treat the atrial fibrillation, we have to treat the heart disease, especially valvular heart disease. Besides, we must avoid drug abuse like cocaine, amphetamine, steroid, and all those drugs. We can avoid tobacco products also so as to prevent hypertension in future. We have to cut down excessive weight in our body, that is obesity and overweight, by doing regular exercise and joining weight loss program and as well as dietary restriction so as to prevent the ischemic stroke in future. Besides, normal sleep for 6 to 8 hours per day is very much essential. We should also try to avoid stress because stress increases the level of stress hormone in our body, which is responsible for causing changes in heart as well as increased risk of cerebrovascular accident or ischemic stroke in future. So these are the various preventive measures or ways so as to prevent the ischemic stroke in future. Thank you very much.